Shabbat Shalom, everybody. We're on page 10 in our prayer book as we welcome Shabbat with Yedid Nefesh, friend of my soul. Yedid Nefesh av harachaman, Yedid Nefesh av harachaman, Meshocham decha. Ya la 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 el retzonecha yarut tzomdecha kemo ayal yishtachav yai ya la 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 el mul hadarecha.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
It is wonderful to be here with all of you tonight. I'm Rabbi Sidney Mintz, and Cantor Marcia Addy is here. You want to introduce our incredible musicians?
We're so blessed and lucky always to have Eric Schoen and Jonathan Ferris and Dan Zemmelman. We just want to be able to put the piano right here next time.
But we need a bigger bima and a smaller piano. We'll work on that. And I also want to say it's a great pleasure to have our senior rabbis, Rabbi Beth and Rabbi Jonathan Singer, in the house, in the dome tonight. So welcome. Yeah. And it is really a sacred assembly tonight as we welcome Shabbat. And we don't just have one or two or three or four. We have 6 B'nai Mitzvah students tonight.
So 5.
5?
5.
5.
2 sets of twins. And then 1 individual.
That does make 5, and I will tell you, in rabbinical school and cantorial school, we did not take a math class. So I will say, but it's still a lot, 5 B'nai Mitzvah students. So we are going to invite our B'nai Mitzvah students up now with their families, the Spiro family and the Lake family and the Marshall family.
And you'll see the Marshall family will be in the center table because we have 2 sets of Kiddush cups on each of the outside tables.
And for everyone else who is worshiping with us here in the sanctuary, we remind you to keep your masks on at all time. And if you're worshiping from home, we hope you're having a wonderful time, and we warmly welcome you into our sanctuary via our live stream.
So you can use the shamash, the lighter candle, to light the other candles. Baruch Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת.
Thank you so much. You can be seated, and the rest of us will join together for Lecha Dodi on page 138.
And this melody is a little new to us. I want to make sure you can sing with us. At least the refrain, the Lecha Dodi, as we greet the Sabbath bride. It goes like this. Lecha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Let's try that again. Lecha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad ki yishmi'anu Adonai echad u'shmo echad Shemo tiferet v'tfilah Lecha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי מקורך ברכה בראש מקדם נצוחה ועשי במחשבה תפילה. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה ב'nei Shabbat nekabela. כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה ב'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה b'nei Shabbat nekabela. We rise and face the door from where we enter to greet the symbolic Sabbath Queen. Boi v'shalom ateret bala gam b'simcha u'tochola toch emunei am segula. Boi chala Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה ב'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה b'nei Shabbat nekabela.
You can be seated now. We turn to page 142 for Shalom Aleichem, where we invite the angels to bless us and join us on this Shabbat.
and we move into a different, we go from a Latin feel to, this is actually a melody from Salonika, which was once upon a time had the largest Sephardic Jewish population in the world. So this is an old Greek Jewish melody. Shalom Aleichem Malachei Hasharet Malachei Elyon Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Then we all say Yai Rai 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 Yai Rai Yai Rai Rai Yai Rai Yai Rai 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 Boachem L'Shalom Malachei Hashalom Malachei Elyon Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yai lai 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 yai lai 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 Baruchuni L'Shalom Malachei Hashalom Malachei Elyon Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yai rai rai yai rai 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 yai rai yai rai rai yai rai yai rai 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 Tzedchem L'Shalom Malachei Hashalom Malachei Elyon Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yai lai 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 yai lai 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 lai.
Entrances to holiness are everywhere. The possibility of ascent is all the time, even at unlikely times and through unlikely places. There is no place on earth without the presence. We continue now as we rise together on page 146 for the Baruch Hu.
Yai rai rai yai rai 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 yai rai yai rai 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 yai rai rai yai rai 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 yai rai rai yai rai 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 yai rai rai yai rai rai yai rai rai yai rai rai
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Yai rai rai yai rai yai rai rai yai rai 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 yai rai rai yai rai rai yai rai rai rai
We remain standing, and if it's your custom to close your eyes, we take a deep breath together before the Shema.
Shema Yisrael Adonai
Please be seated and join us in the Ve'ahavta on page 154.
And this is an extra rehearsal for all of you 5 students for tomorrow morning. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ולכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך וחיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אלוהיכם אמת.
We continue on page 158 with the Micha-Mocha, and each time we come to the Micha-Mocha, we think not only back to the travels, the travails, and the journey of the Israelites from Egypt to freedom, from slavery to freedom, but each Shabbat we think about what this past over a year and a half has been like, and that we each Shabbat encounter a place of wanting things to be as normal as possible, because that's what Shabbat promises us, is that every week it's going to be the same. We're going to get a little rest, a little respite, but we're still not out totally into the light. And so when we chant the Micha-Mocha, we think about the narrow places that we occupy, but we always have the light to look toward together.
Micha-Mocha ba'elim Adonai, Micha-Mocha nedar b'kodesh, Nora tegilot, osei peleh, Nora tegilot. בוקי הים לפני משה ומרים, זה אלינו ואמרו, זה אלינו ואמרו. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, נורא תהילות, עושי פלא, נורא תהילות.
Our service continues as we take all of those into our hearts who are in need of healing of body or of spirit. And we say, Mishaberach Avotenu v'imotenu hu yevarech kol hacholim v'kihila shalanu. May the one who comforts all and heals all give comfort and healing to those who need either healing of body, spirit, of mind, And we recall the names of those who are going through this passage of illness from our community. Frank Friedman, Rusty Holden, Lauren Knickerbocker, Natalie Saltiel, Art Pilch, Marilyn Brenner, Trey Graves, Edith Botrut, Trudy Salmin, Ermin Castillo, Tivona Bat Miriam, Carolyn Brown, Miriam Friedman Zinn, Christine Yi, Harneet Sethi, Nancy Jackson, and Ruth Bat Edith. If anybody else has the name of someone who is ill in their family or their community, please feel free to say their names. And we ask for God's continued blessing, all of their hearts, their minds, and their bodies, and to uphold the healers as they go through that passage.
And we're on page 42. Hashkifenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'hamidenu shomreinu lechayim. Hashkifenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'hamidenu shomreinu lechayim. Ushmor tzeitenu uvoenu lechayim u'shalom me'ata ve'ad olam. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'hamidenu shomreinu lechayim. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'hamidenu shomreinu lechayim. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Sing with us. Shalom, shalom, shalom. We're praying for shalom, shalom, shalom. One day we'll be shalom, shalom, shalom. Oh, shalom, shalom, shalom.
Thank you, Cantor. That beautiful Hashkivenu. We continue now with the Tefillah on page 164, and we rise together.
Yes, that was on page number 46, if we're outside of the brackets, I believe, right? We like to keep you, to test you.
I know, inside and outside the brackets.
Yeah. We like to think outside of the brackets. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, וזוכר חסי אבות ואימהות ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ברופאי חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please take a few minutes for your own silent meditation, and when you're completed, feel free to be seated.
My God, guard my speech from evil and my lips from deception. Before those who slander me, I will hold my tongue. I will practice humility. Open my heart to your Torah.
אלוהי נצור לשוני מרע, ושפתי מדבר מרמה, ואם קלי נפשי תדום, ונפשי כעפר לכל תהיה
אלוהי נצור לשוני מרע, ושפתי מדבר מרמה, ואם קלי נפשי תדום, ונפשי כעפר לכל תהיה אלוהי נצור לשוני מרע, ושפתי מדבר מרמה, ואם קללי נפשי תדום, ונפשי כעפר לכל תהיה אלוהי. תח
אלוהי נצור לשוני מרע, ושפתי מדבר מרמה,
ואם קללי נפשי תדום, ונפשי כעפר לכל תהיה אלוהי.
יהיו לרצון ימרי פי, והגיון ליבי לפניך, אדוני.
was amazing. And I really missed that during the High Holy Days, so I appreciate so much that the four of you brought that to life for us. It's such a beautiful piece of liturgy and music and spirit. So tonight, I want to ask all of you a question. It's a little bit of a sensitive question. How old are you? How old are you this year? Why do I ask? It's a question which I was taught you should never ask anyone, especially not a woman. Now, that's a whole other sermon, why it's actually more challenging for women to age in our society than it is for men. But the sensitivity and the private nature of our age is something to take note of. To me, it seems to be about the fear of getting older and the obsession that our society has with staying young. Our age and our stage of life is, of course, tremendously a part of who we are. Several years ago, before COVID, I attended a book reading in person in San Francisco by Ashton Applewhite, the author of This Chair Rocks, a manifesto about ageism. Ashton writes, "Aging is a natural, lifelong, powerful process that unites us all." At the reading, Ashton wore a necklace that had a combination of many photos of herself at different ages, from being a little girl, a toddler, all the way around to almost 70 years of age, instead of a name tag. It was a way for people to see her as she was and is. And for her, it was a shield against the pervasive ageism she perceived occurring, which she sees in line with things like racism, sexism, and homophobia, ageism. In our tradition, aging and the experience that accompanies it is an honor. You get better and wiser and more respected the older you are, well, at least in the Bible. Because of the relativity of time, meaning that a day was probably not 24 hours and a year was not 365 days, we know that Methuselah was probably not 969 years old, Noah was not 950, Sarah was not 127, and Moses probably didn't make it to 120 years old. But a person's age did matter, and it still does. In fact, the only parsha which bears the name of a woman, Chayei Sarah, or the life of Sarah, what we're told about her is that she dies at 127 years. That's what it says. It doesn't say she died at 127 years old. It says that she was 100 years and 20 years and 7 years. That was the lifespan of Sarah. Sarah's lifetime included the 7-year-old little girl, the 20-year-old young adult, and the 100-year-old aging woman. It shows us that we're not only the age we are today, we're all the ages combined that we've been so far. So I'm going to ask you, do you remember being 7 years old? What do you remember? For some of you, if you're 13, it was just a few years ago. For some of you, if you're 99, it was quite a few years ago. How would you describe yourself at 7? And how about 20-year-old you? Who were you then? What were you like? And now, can you not only remember yourself as a child or a young adult, but can you feel those parts of yourselves still vibrant and alive, even if people, when they meet you or see you, only see the person you are today at this age and stage of your life? The way that Sarah is described in the Torah, in Chayei Sarah, reminds me of Ashton's necklace, as if we could meet people at all the ages and stages of their life before we actually see them. During the marathon of High Holy Days during the fall, we're reminded over and over again of the length of our days, including the great teaching of Rabbi Eliezer, who says, "Repent the day before you die." It seems apparent that most of us are unaware of the day of our death. We think of it, we ponder it, we avoid it, we dream about it, we fear it, but we live with the uncertainty of how long we're actually going to be here. In Genesis, it says that we're going to be allowed 120 years, and in Psalm 90, it says 70. So somewhere between 70 and 120 years we're given in this world. Now, in case you're wondering, there are longevity calculators online. Has anybody ever gone to a longevity calculator? Don't do it. I actually did it before I wrote the sermon. You enter all of your personal data, your income, your gender, your race, your health, and out pops how long you have left to live. I'm telling you, don't do it. It was not a fun exercise tonight. Now, I don't have an idea if it was actually close to correct, but it's sobering to see a number that a computer algorithm pops out. The average life expectancy today in our country is 88 years old. The calculator told me I have a 75% chance that I will live that long. Now, I had to stop there because then the next tab told me I needed more money to live that long in San Francisco. And then the next tab offered me investment opportunities. So a warning, I think some of them are actually sales tools, not just longevity calculators. Dr. Bill Thomas, the American author, performer, and authority on geriatric medicine and elder care, said that the happiest decade in most people's lives is your, what do you think it is? 70s. 70s. Closely followed by your 80s. On the flip side, people in their 40s are the unhappiest, according to his data. And he actually says the age 47 is the most unhappiest year of most people's lives. Why? He said it has to do with older adults' ability to be in control of their emotions. They can experience moments of poignancy at the same time as happiness. They have more insights into the problems of everyday living and are better able to balance them. So if we're our happiest in our 70s, and if you haven't gotten there yet, well, good news, we're heading there. So why is there such a stigma about aging? Dr. Thomas suggests it's because we are constantly being compared to our younger selves, and we do it to ourselves. He challenges us to outgrow adulthood and become the elders of America, just as children outgrow childhood to become adults. He likes the word elder better than elderly or even older adult. As I get closer to those ages, I understand more and more how important our sages and our elders are. In Yiddish, we call them the Altakakers of our community, and they are the ones we actually should be focusing on. All too often we ask young people for advice. I mean, I do all the time about technology, but that seems normal, right? People who are like under 15. But those people who are in their 80s and 90s and 100s are the ones we should be focusing on if we want to learn about and be prepared for the future. Several of our members are either already over 100 or, like some people in this sanctuary, are almost 100 years old. I love spending time talking to them, listening to their stories, and they actually give the best advice. So this year, during the month of Elul, I spent time listening to our elders. And each Rosh Hashanah, we acknowledge that as time passes, we get farther away from our beginning moments and closer to the ending ones. And this year, 5782, I began to think about tshuva in a new way. Part of it was the necklace that Ashton wore with all the pictures of herself at different ages. It was the first time I met somebody whose faces at different ages I met when she was almost 70. I got to see her as a baby and as a teenager and as a 20-year-old. I've started to think about how we can take each year as a way to change our lives, to take each Rosh Hashanah as a point in time when we mark our own new beginning. We don't have the choice when we're born or when we die. But if we take each Rosh Hashanah as an invitation to change our relationships and our reactions, the way we treat ourselves and others, then each year is actually a Bereshit, not just in the beginning, but in a beginning. Then we can make each year not only a time when we reflect on getting older, but on getting wiser, deeper, more loving, more generous, and more ourselves. And so what I will tell you is that I made a commitment to myself, and if I was wearing a button, not a necklace, the button would say, ask me about 5782 Sydney. Yours would say, ask me about 5782 Marcia, 5782 Joel, 5782 Beth. I feel like, what was that television show? Was it Romper Room, where we were calling people's names out? Ask me about my 5782 self. Are there things that you have done, reactions you have had, the kind of person that you've been all the way up to now that you really wish you could change? Could you treat somebody better? Could you have a different conversation? Could you be more loving to yourself? That's your 5782 commitment to yourself. So tonight, this Shabbat, this week, I ask you 13-year-olds, What are you going to do differently in 5782 that's going to change yourself, going to make a relationship better that you're in right now that might not be at its best? And what are you going to do in 5782 to change the world? It's a beret sheet every year, and it can be a beret sheet every day. I want you to all also turn to our elders, ask them for help, our wise ones, our hachamim, our altakakers. They will tell you that each year is really a precious gift, a precious beginning, and we aren't only getting older, we're also getting better. Shabbat Shalom. We turn now in our service to page 586, and we rise for the Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו ככם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו Thank you for that beautiful harmony.
Did it almost sound over there like a barbershop quartet?
Yes.
With the three of them? It was beautiful. Thank you for that. I ask you to now please be seated as we prepare ourselves for the Mourner's Kaddish, which you can find either on page 294 or 598. And this week we recall those who will be laid to rest later in the week, Circa O'Connor and Milton Zarin. And the Shloshim, those who have left us in our community in the last 30 days, Miriam Rand, Estelle Reutblatt, Tim Van Landingham, Barbara Mitchell, Roger Stone, Charlotte Levine, Marilyn Golden, Avram Katz, John Davies, and Dr. Bill Gottfried, as well as those whose yahrzeits, the anniversary of their death, falls on this Shabbat. Myron Asnis, William Atkins, Richard Baruch, Leonard Brown, James Lewis Cody, Alvin C. Cohen, Barbara Merle Cohen, Lucille F. Dorfman, Jeremy Dossiter, Steve Eisendrath, Sarah Feig, Masya Feldman, Molly Bald Fischel, Rochelle Garber, Francis Jabal, Philip Goldman, Adele Hornstein, Helen Iskoff, Joel Eisenberg, Ziona Caddis, Emanu-El M. Krause, Rose Lieber, Jack Lurch, Marvin E. Lewis Sr., Ruth E. Lipman, Julie Lopper, Henry Lewis Lyons, Sheldon Mark Mitchell, Frank Morris, Raquel Newman, Susan Nissen, Tilly Novoshan, Betty Faye Nusunau, Kalman Padat, Stephen Rice, Louis Rogalski, Judith Rosner, Harry Rubenstein, Fern Reinecke, Gerald Enoch Sachs, Michal Zella, Frida Shapiro, John Frederick Shaw, Sarah Siegel, Irwin S. Silver, Joseph Solifan, Lillian Strang, Nancy Sirkin, Jeanette Tenenbaum, Larry Teplin, Esther L. Vorsanger, Edita Weidman, Eileen Weiss, Herman Wertheim, Adolf Wilner, Bernard Wolin, Erlang Yang, Nikki Zarevsky, and David Zemsky. If there's anyone else who is observing the yahrzeit or has recently lost a loved one, please feel free to say that person's name. And we invite all of those among us rising together with our mourners in support as we say the Mourners Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabba, be'alma divrach Yerute v'yamlich malchute, b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'gala v'zman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba mivorach le'olam ulmei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shemei dukudisha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei shlam rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen.
Say shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru Amen. Oh, say shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru Amen. Oh, say shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru Amen. Hey! Yalla la 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 la, yalla la la la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la. Oh, say shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru Amen. Hey! Yalla la 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 la, yalla la la la, yalla la 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 la la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la. Oh, say shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru Amen.
We're going to invite our B'nai Mitzvah students to lead us in the Kiddush and Motzi.
It's on page 5 if you'd like to join along with them. And we do have, so come back to your tables, students. That's right, everybody come to your table. We actually have microphones for you. So one of you can hold, or you can hold for yourself. Let's make sure to turn them on. You got it? Okay. Mic on? Great. And let's all join them together. And one of you, or you should hold up your Kiddush cup. So I realize it's a little bit tricky if you're holding a book, but here it is. I see we have to think about this better in the future. But when you're done with the blessing, quickly put down your mic and raise your glass, okay? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu
Shabbat Kodsho Zikaron lema'aseh Bereshit Ki hu yom tehillah Lemikra kodesh Zeher Tziat Mitzrayim Kivanu v'harta Ve'otanu kidashta Mikol ha'amim V'shabbat kol sheha Ve'ahava uvratzon Inchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadosh.
Hold it high.
Shabbat L'chaim. That was called a cacophony of Kiddush. And before we do motzi, I want to say distinctly, when I was about 13 years old, being in synagogue on Rosh Hashanah, and I remember seeing all of these guys who had these wires coming up behind their ears, and they had, what I found out later, they were wearing radios on Rosh Hashanah because guess what? The Cubs were in the World Series. And so I'm remembering that right now because somebody just went like this to me, which means we know that a lot of people are also simultaneously worshiping here, but also enjoying the Giants game. So I believe it means that it's 2 for us and 0 for the other guys, whatever Southern California team we might be playing. And so that's a little bit of simcha for us because we need all the simcha we can get that the Giants are now winning. So between the Kiddush and the Motzi, we have that. We're going to join everybody in the Motzi now.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'te'amen.
Shabbat Shalom. Please bring your Sidurim back to the back of the sanctuary. And if you're coming back here tomorrow for B'nai Mitzvah, just remember you and all of your families need to help us by clapping and snapping and being loud and boisterous. A lot of simcha. Shabbat Shalom.